Good evening. Welcome to the 5-8, where we discuss each of the week's 5 most fucked up topics for 8 minutes. 5 topics, 8 minutes, 2 hosts, a guest, except no guest tonight, some singing, a lot of curse words, and as many cocktails as we deem necessary. LB, how are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'll be better when I take a sip of this
Take a
delicious
sip of that.
cocktail.
I'm just having water tonight, everybody.
I'm also having water, and
Yeah.
water is part of the cocktail in its frozen form in the
Okay.
shaker. So,
Yeah.
we have that in common. We want to shout out Chunk, for the great intro. We always forget to do that. Mojo CrossFit 2961 suggested flipping the the fellow indictees who flipped. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
And
on the wall. The portraits on the wall.
and I keep thinking that the alien canon giving us the middle finger will one day not be relevant, and yet every week it is relevant.
I had that same thought watching her
Yeah.
scroll across in her judge's robe and messed up hair. I was like, oh, there she is again. Yeah, all of our characters seem to find their way into the news cycle.
Yep.
They never stop.
Um, I do have a little quibble though about my
Oh,
week. I hope you don't
okay.
mind. I
All
yeah,
right.
I you know, um I I booked a massage, okay, for next week. I'm very excited about this. And then the judge in the fraud trial that I'm supposed to testify on is making me break the massage appointment to testify. I mean, he wouldn't even push it off
Ah,
like everybody else. I mean, what an asshole, right?
the
Right?
the hardship, the
Yeah,
sacrifice.
totally awful. Yeah.
Totally awful. It's almost as if you had kids, 3 kids, each with 2 nannies. So you had round the clock coverage, individualized per child, 24/7, but it's a school week.
It is a
And
school
so
week.
it's too hard if
Yeah.
you're Ivanka Trump. It's too hard to
Yeah.
show up and testify
Yeah.
and to a subpoena.
Yeah.
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 I
She
mean, at
has a
least she
busy
gave an
day.
excuse, I gotta say. It's not like Jim Jordan who just ran to the shower and was like, "I'm not coming out of the shower, guys, no matter how much you subpoena me, I'm not doing it."
Yeah.
So,
And by the way, no consequences of that at all.
no
0
consequences.
consequences.
Yeah,
0
because we're a
consequences.
no consequence nation now. Huh,
Yeah. It's
it's
fun.
exciting.
Um,
It's really amazing.
I think though
Amazing.
Ivanka is probably tired because lifting that Goya bean can over and over is
Oh,
like,
yeah, I
it's kind of a
forgot about the
workout.
beans.
It is. Yeah. It's a
Yeah, nice
workout.
little troll
Yeah.
there. That was fun.
Um, okay. So no after hours tonight. We will be doing one next Friday.
Yeah,
That's going to be the
we're
after hours.
hoping everything comes back. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no guests tonight because we wanted to do a neat.
We wanted to
This
do a
is the
neat.
5/8 neat.
Yeah. It is the
Yeah,
5-8.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay.
I don't know why we wanted to do a 5/8 neat. Oh, we just did. Felt like the time. It's
Yeah.
that time in the schedule.
It is. It's that time
Yeah,
in the schedule.
yeah.
It is.
All right,
Okay.
so let me get I'm a little you think I'd be a little better organized here. Let me just get the clock going here so we can get our 8 minutes on the clock. All right. What's our first topic, Mr. Olear?
The first topic is villains. That's the name of this segment. It's called Villains. And I want to talk about just up front, all the Hamas stuff, because I feel like obviously this is in the news. It's the headlines all over the place. It's stuff that's trending on Twitter. And it's very complicated, and it requires an awful lot of people to suddenly start paying attention to topics and complicated situations that they were not previously paying attention to, which is fine. It's not like I'm the world's foremost expert in this either. And we are living now in an age of disinformation where, there are these info wars, if you will.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's hard to see now. It's harder to see than it was before. Twitter is a cesspool that used to be a reliable source of information. It's not. Um, the mainstream press is not doing a fantastic job with this particular story. It's okay, but it's not. There's things that they could do better that make it so that you really have to pay attention to where the information's coming from. And I've seen just an awful lot of propaganda, misinformation, and propaganda disguised as, humanitarian kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. So I want to just, and again, I'm not trying to be this is hard. Everybody has a problem with it. Everyone's learning, including me, including you. Well, you know everything, but
I don't know.
I'm not trying to be like, a know-it-all or whatever, because I am not. I
Right.
read the experts and talk to the experts. I had Jason Pack on my show today, great expert about.
Great expert.
So
You just
the
gotta
first,
hang on to some facts and some truths here. Yeah, and that's with misinformation flying, like, let's just all not misremember what's
yeah,
going on.
and Hamas is the villain. That's the villain.
That's
Like
the villain.
if you find yourself wondering or you're confused, go back always to that. That is what I have done myself, and it proves to be very reliable. Hamas wants every Jewish person in Palestine either dead or gone. They keep saying this over and over. They did this horrible terror attack. They say they're going to keep doing the terror attacks until they get what they want, which is never going to happen. So they, as long as Hamas is in power and armed and doing these things, this shit is never going to stop. They are like villains from a horror movie. They have to be they have to be eradicated. And that's the first thing. That's who the bad guy is. So if you're mad about, the treatment of anybody or that's who's to blame right now. Them,
Yeah.
Hamas. They're the ones who did this, right? What did they do, LB? Do you remember? What did they do? I forgot. It was so long ago.
Oh, it's so long ago. Yeah, it seems like just about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4.
Mm.
Come on, 4. They launched a coordinated terror attack with over 2,000 terrorists going into Israel, capturing citizens, going into their homes, into citizens, into innocents, torturing, maiming families, children in front of their fathers and mothers, mothers in front of their children, raping, lots of raping, kidnapping, and executions. And then some of them, after they executed the families at the dinner table, sat down and ate dinner, ate their food. So that's a coordinated terror attack. I want every American that's out there just screaming about this from one side or another to just take a pause, take a moment, and think about that being your home, that being your neighborhood, that being your family, your friends, yourself. And these terrorists come in and commit all those atrocities that had been planned, that they had been given resources in order to execute this plan, and then continue to say that they're going to keep doing it while taking hostages, killing babies. They did. They killed babies. I understand that's inconvenient for folks. I understand that's inconvenient for Hamas, and they're trying to say that's all lies because you can't weaponize that, can't spin that. And so now it's, but what about our babies? So we'll put all of our babies in harm's way, and then this is what's happening. So that's what happened. And I, too, am so disheartened that that's just forgotten, as if that's not part of the equation of what is happening right now.
Yeah.
How is that not part of the equation of what is happening right now?
Yeah.
These weren't planes into buildings. That was horrific. This was very personal. Individuals coming into the homes of other individuals or into music festivals, physically using whatever they had on them, whatever weapon they had, to kill somebody this close in the most barbaric way possible, gleefully so, and calling it a victory.
Yeah, so that's what
So
they did.
I just one more thing.
Okay.
I understand. I heard Ta-Nehisi Coates, and I'm listening to the folks. I've seen it. I turn away from it because it's too much to handle, because it feels like it's madness to me. It is madness. I just want everyone that's like, well, but somehow feels like there's a justification for that terror attack because, the Palestinians were living in an apartheid state. I just want anybody to imagine then Nelson Mandela crafting that plan to go into the homes of civilians and gouge a father's eye out, rape a mother in front of the 2 children, cut up the 2 children while they were still alive, and then execute everybody and sit down and eat dinner and call it a victory. I want someone to explain to me how apartheid was able to collapse and be defeated without that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can do it. I feel like you can get there. I want anybody saying, well, we're out here protesting, the terrorizing Jewish students on campuses, threatening their lives, if not even going in and causing physical harm. And calling that your freedom of speech, your freedom of assembly, your march. Okay. I want you to imagine Martin Luther King sanctioning that. Would he do it?
I think no. I'm going to go with no.
Gonna go with no. What about Mahatma Gandhi, who threw off an occupier?
Yeah. No. Again, no.
No?
No, probably not. Yeah. Yeah.
Little bit of education would go a long way on these campuses.
The other point that I want to make, there's a couple, is hostages. Now Hamas took hostages and brought them back to Gaza. But what we're learning now is that the people who are living in Gaza are also hostages of Hamas.
That's right.
They just are. They're being used as, I know everyone says the human shields thing it's almost a hackneyed now to say this, but that's what's happening. That's what they do, these terror groups. And I saw footage that, I don't know what's real and what's not now. I don't know what to believe and what's not, but they're not great with their own people. They're not great with their own people. Let's just say this. So, it's Hamas versus everybody wants them gone, because peace is not ever going to happen while they're there, for the Palestinians living there and for the Israelis living there. Now, is Bibi a crook? Is he awful? Do I like what he's been doing? No. But, to go
there's
around.
No but to that. I don't know. There's no but to that. Let's leave that. He's
Okay.
horrible. I don't even know his culpability in this. I'm sorry. I feel like it's impossible for me to believe that he didn't know this was going to happen and thought on some level that he would be able to capitalize on it. There, I said it.
Well,
he's that horrific.
He is bad. He's very bad. And any other person would have resigned in shame by now, but not him.
But not him.
The people are calling for the ceasefire, and I get it. I was reading the piece by Stephen Ross, who's the ambassador that, did all the negotiations. And he's saying the ceasefire with Hamas will not work. Pause for humanitarian aid, absolutely. But a ceasefire, all that will happen is it'll give them time to re-hide everything, move everybody around, and get more weapons. That's all that's going to happen. A ceasefire there is the same as the ceasefire in Ukraine.
And did you see, again, hard to tell what's true and what's not, but there's some reporting floating around. Did you see whose weapons there are in the tunnels that Hamas has been?
Oh, if we saw it, it's because RT was there with cameras. So I'm going to go with Russia here. Yeah.
You're going to go with the Kremlin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I also think that there's other ways. I think Munich this shit right up. There are very powerful forces that are behind Hamas in other nations, mainly the Kremlin.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. Take that guy out.
And their leaders are not there. They're on TV repeating blood libel and saying that they're going to just not stop and continue the terror attacks forever. So, that's who they are. We can't, I know that's also like a hackneyed thing. You can't negotiate with terrorists, but these Hamas, you can't.
You can't. They want one thing. They're very clear. It's a hatred. It's just coming out of pores through the screen. I can't watch it. I was on Twitter a little bit this morning. Put me in a funk. I'm not doing that again. I'm just not on it. There's so much anti-Semitism on Elon Musk's platform. Just outrageous, raging anti-Semitism that it's it's too
Yeah.
much. All right,
It's too much.
we're over our time.
Okay. One last thing.
Yeah, one last thing.
And this is how we'll end. Genocide. That word is getting thrown around very casually these days. Technically, the population of Palestinians in Palestine has doubled, in the last however many years. There are still, right now, on planet Earth, fewer Jews than there were in 1939. So it's not the same thing, and stop using the same word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to move on.
Yeah.
It's too much for me.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
And I'm safe and healthy and fine, and my family's all safe. So I can't even imagine. All right, next topic: speakers.
We have a new Speaker of the House. We're learning more about him. Mike
We're
Dick,
learning
as
a
you
lot
call him.
about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy, he's got a very interesting closet that's sort of exploding.
Yeah.
In many different directions. There's a financial direction now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All
Now,
right. I don't know how much time we want to give him, so I'm happy to cut
let's
this
do
short
6
since
because we
went
did go long on the first.
We went long. All right.
First
So
topic's the most important one anyway. So this guy, go ahead.
give us you've got some clarity here around what the Daily Beast didn't include in their sort of bombshell reporting, that this guy has not reported any money, that he has any money anywhere.
I guess now the reporting for, I think, members of Congress is slightly different than for judges, I think, and he does not have to report like bank accounts that don't earn interest. So his checking accounts, he doesn't have to disclose that. He doesn't have to disclose the federal like savings thing that they all have. I can't remember the thrift, the thrift savings that Brett Kavanaugh used to buy his, the $50,000 that he used to pay for the $235,000 down payment. That thing, Mike John. So it isn't necessarily that he doesn't have a bank account. It's just sus, as the kids say. There's weird things. There's weird things about his wife, who apparently is a conversion therapist, long time.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to like make that, they're trying to tamp that down, but that's a thing. There's the 14-year-old black teenager that Mike Johnson adopted when he was 25, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I put adopted in scare quotes because it was not a legal adoption.
It wasn't legal. It was very nester. He nestered him up. Yeah. He's troubled. He's got some troubles there in his past. Some arrests, I think.
Yeah. Do you think this is the question? We were talking before the show about, how we could write a how-to book on how to acquire a congressman, a member of Congress.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. If we're like the Kremlin, like it's so easy. It just feels like.
Yeah. If you're
how would you do it?
Power, it's a 2-step deal. It's a only 2 steps, and probably get down to 1. It's probably getting down to 1. Okay. Step number 1, which may be the only step you need. Just gather up a bunch of money.
Okay.
All the sophisticated blackmail ops and all that. So I don't know that that's even necessary anymore. This party is so corrupt, right? So gather up a bunch of money and just throw it at the GOP politicians and anybody in New York, apparently. Any politician in New York. Just that's it. That's your 1 step. Just, you don't even have to have the blackmail. Just tell them, hey, we got the goods on you. They're going to know that you do. You're going to assume, because they're all doing horrible things. And they're all horrible people. And there's just deviancy about. But really, just throw that. The step 2 is just make something up. To push the money through. You just make it up. Fake university. There's a fake law school for this Mike Johnson guy, right? That was some reportings like that. Whatever he was the dean of didn't even exist. You can make up a PAC. Can make up just make a media company. You can make up an institute. You can make up a cryptocurrency. You can make up anything you want. Just make it up. Doesn't have to be real. Just tell people it's there, and just use that to get the money to the person. But I think now you can just give the money to the person, because I don't think there's any consequences for that anymore. We haven't seen any consequences. We're in the land of no consequences, You've
We
got,
are.
just give them the money. That's it. That's how you take over the largest and what once strongest democracy in the world.
Yeah, very easy. Very easy. Um, I was thinking, you think that all the owned Congress people gather at parties, like in Glengarry Glen Ross, and is there like a contest to see like which guy can do the most damage in the best way? Like, second prize is a set of steak knives. Third prize is you fight like that. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Tuberville's in there. Tuberville's like, coach, 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 coach. I'm going to win this thing.
Coach, I'm in it to win
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I'm in it to win it with the
yeah. Does he
Tuberville.
get like a
Yeah,
thing? Do they get like the Order of Friendship medal from Putin at the end of this?
that's what it is.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
it comes with the 14-year-old, I'm sure. But so sorry. So yeah, that guy. And also, God, when I went back and years ago when I was like, who is this? I got to learn about the Kremlin. It's like, what are these gangsters? All these Russian gangsters around this president. Let me learn more about this country. I had a basic knowledge, better than most. Um, so I'm learning about Putin specifically, and his candy, his number one thing, what he loves to denigrate the U.S. military. That's like his kink. He loves it. So it's no wonder, like, that's why Donald's like suckers and losers and, handing them intel and doing all this stuff. Let me go. And the intelligence community, of course. So day one of Trump's presidency, he goes and shits in his diaper in front of the wall of stars, right? That was a gift. These are gifts. Tuberville is giving gifts to Putin. And I have a really hard time believing that he doesn't know that that's what he's doing. I really have a hard time believing that. Maybe he's just dumb.
I don't know. You're talking about a coach that won the Egg Bowl several times.
I think he knows which team he's playing on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
Yeah. Well,
I think so
if
too.
he doesn't know it, then he's a very, very effective, useful idiot because he's just handing win after win after win when we're actually trying to support now two allies at war.
Yep. Yeah.
It's
It almost
just an
feels like a
atrocity.
coordinated thing
It just
to some
almost feels
degree.
coordinated. The
Yeah.
timing couldn't have been
I'm not
better.
saying it is, but it's not great.
He's got impeccable timing, Mr. Tubber.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck his name is. I can't stand that guy.
No, he's awful. Just awful.
All right.
Awful football coach too.
All right.
So two more things about Mike Johnson real quick.
Yeah.
The first thing is virulently anti-gay, this guy. Like really, I know that a lot of the GOP Christian right tend to be homophobic, but he's very, very much so in terms of the conversion therapy wife and the whole thing and that group that he worked for. And, it's really bad. That's the thing. And the other thing is that apparently, again, this group that he worked for, the American Defense, whatever the hell its stupid name it has, big believers in, the apocalypse coming and that these guys are going to get raptured. So I wrote about this week, and I didn't know that, when the Great Tribulation comes, after there's a war in the Middle East involving Russia and Iran trying to attack Israel, then there's this war, and then the Antichrist appears and does a negotiation, as he does, to fool everybody, and Israel signs a 7-year pact to have peace. And right at the halfway point of that's called the Great Tribulation, that 7-year period, that's when everybody gets raptured. The rest of us have to stay down here without any of them. And then the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse show up with the Whore of Babylon, and it's just a real shit show.
I'm not really into the apocalypse horsemen and the shit show, but I would love it if maybe they're all going up with Elon Musk on his spaceship.
Maybe
Mars.
it is, and maybe I don't know. Maybe the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse is
streams.
I think the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Maybe it's just a really cool nightclub in New York. I don't know.
That would be great.
It would be great.
All right. Now, what I do know is that you got a lot of inspiration from Mike Johnson this week, and actually gave us an original Greg Olear work.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. It's a little esoteric.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
You could choose salvation, but you don't. You could wind up raptured, but you won't. It's true that Jesus loves you, but he loves me more. That's why I must encourage a Middle Eastern war. You can't ride a camel through a needle's eye. I don't have a bank account, that's why. Jesus said if you hoard cash, it's just the same as looting. I render to God what is God's, and to Putin what is Putin's. You can't get into heaven if you're gay, but you get in if you pray the gay away. So I get down on my knees, and so does my wife. There'll be no happy endings, but I get eternal life.
Oh, the gong is new. I love the gong.
Ah,
Shout out Chunk for the great animation. Those are actually my hands, by the way. I
oh,
filmed my hands yesterday, and he was like, "Film your hands. I need the hands playing the guitar." So
oh gosh, you
Yeah.
guys.
I know.
All right. My
Okay,
animator buddy and done crazy things with him. I love it.
it's so fun.
So
Fun.
thank you for that. We're on to our third segment.
Okay,
Tell me what this is.
cases. Oh no, it's Rap Sheet. It was called
Rap
Cases.
Sheet.
Now it's called Rap Sheet. So like all this stuff is going on right in the world, and we're all like paying attention to that, and rightly so. Meanwhile, the former president of the United States, who was president not long ago, is under indictment in 4 different jurisdictions and having this big fraud case going on in a 5th. And it was the fraud case. This I lose track a little bit of
Yeah.
everything going on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's
The
crazy.
judges too. It's sometimes I think the civil case judge is the check-in judge. I forget that Jack Smith has 2.
Right.
And then we don't know about Fani Willis yet and what's really happening there other than people are crying and then going back to their terrible behavior. So flipping crying and then resuming their awfulness. Yeah. So look, for me, for somebody who 8 years ago and 7, 8 years ago, we tracked and wrote down this guy's 30-year history of fraud and crime and detailed it to the all open source reporting, all right there in front of everybody's face. But no one was talking about it because all anybody could talk about was the apprentice and marketing. He's a brand expert. And I'm like, yeah, I think he's just a mobster.
He's going to shake it up, LB. He's going to shake it up. He's not beholden to billionaires like everybody else.
Oh yeah, he's a billionaire. Yeah. Ugh. But we were talking it's like, so I'm not following it all that closely because I don't, okay, there's nothing new. But there is, so maybe you can do the new stuff. There's gag order appeals and all kinds of insanity, but and Ivanka it's keeping it all separate. Is there anything you want to update anybody on this Rap Sheet? And then we can kind of talk about, I'll bring up some of the things from the past.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, his kids are testifying. Eric was in there. Don Jr. was in there. I saw something that said Don Jr. told the sketch artist to make him look sexy. I don't know if that's true or not. I've lost the ability. Sometimes things come out and I don't know if they're true. You sent me that text, that tweet, the one that the guy did with those kids in DC.
Oh, that was different though.
But I couldn't tell if it was a joke or not. And apparently it isn't.
It's not.
Yeah.
So boy, do they have a rude awakening coming for them.
Sometimes it's hard to tell, but I think that's true. And I could see Don Jr. saying that because he does I watched some of his deposition a couple weeks ago, and he does seem like he cares a lot about everybody liking him during this thing. He's
Well,
charming.
I mean, he's got
Don
police
Jr. is charming.
officers flashing a white power 3% or white power symbol at him
Well,
as he walks into the courthouse. I think that's very interesting. They're not doing that with all of them. How do
No.
they know Don Jr.'s theirs?
Hmm.
What could it be, Greg? What could it be? Could he be whispering to them and all his little bullshit tours that he does and all his little videos where everyone's pointing out how high he is, but maybe he's saying shit that he says in those forums, in those white power forums, and they recognize it? Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, he's
maybe he's been in with that group for a long time.
It's definitely possible, but he
Mm,
he has a
maybe.
constituency. Like we were talking about this. We've talked about this plenty of times, that Jared and Ivanka don't really have a constituency of people that like them.
There's
I think most
Cizilla. What about Cizilla?
Who?
What's this? Wasn't that his name? That reporter, Cizilla?
Oh,
That's in love
Steve.
with Ivanka?
Yeah, Chris Saliza.
Oh,
Saliza, I
Saliza,
forgot about him.
whatever
Oh
the
my
fuck
God,
it
you're bringing up trauma. The worst, most horrible reporter of all. Yeah, just both sidesing it. No, he liked Ivanka. Yeah,
He really.
I think he really did. Yeah,
he really liked her. Yeah.
Yeah, but Don Jr. has a constituency. I think there are people out there that really do watch that thing that he does where he, looks coked up or whatever. And we've seen the clips on Twitter because they're shared, but I think there are people that really watch that thing and are down.
I think they're the ones that flash the white power symbols.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
You don't see Eric doing that. Eric's too busy cheating charities, cancer charities.
Cheating charities, and apparently he was running everything. I told you Jared was dumber. Although Jared did get $2 billion for being dumb. Just dumb enough.
Just dumb enough.
Just dumb enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, this is a crime family. It's always been a crime family. They've done nothing but crime. They only partnered with gangsters, global gangsters, once everything went to an international bent. But before that, at Trump Tower and at Trump, which is the thing they're lying all about, and this fraud case because he said the thing was bigger than it was bigger, and he got loans from the whatever. Good, get him. It's all crime. Get him on the crimes. Good. Alvin Bragg, you betrayed us and dropped the ball on getting him on the Deutsche Bank stuff and on the money laundering and on the stuff that really would have a bite to it and would really stick. Going for the Stormy Daniels case, the election. We haven't heard about that for a while. Maybe, I don't know, something maybe there. But this is, he built his first stuff with his dad's help, with his dad's business partners, who were the head of the Gambino crime family and the head of Genevieve's crime family at the time, Fat Tony and Paul Castellano. So this is not me making it up. There's no disputing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the records. It's in court records. It's on tapes from the FBI. That's what he is. He is in bed with the gangsters. It's coming out of Sam Gravano's mouth every time he opened his mouth in the 80s and the 90s. This is all he fucking talked about, was how Donald Trump was his property, right? Mm-hmm. And then in comes the Russians, roll everything up, and boom, Trump goes international, and we've got him in every single person that's connected to Semyon Mogilevich in some way, setting up, these crap hotels. There's Trump Panama, which was with a convicted human trafficking, prostitution guy, right? That's what that Trump Panama was. Oh, that was one of Ivanka's projects, by the way. Oh, she had another one. Trump Baku.
Oh, yeah, Baku. Azerbaijan.
Yeah. Adam, can't remember his last name
Davidson.
now.
Adam Davidson.
Adam Davidson wrote it because Trump org said, yeah, we did that. Yeah, we laundered money for those people. What's wrong with that? And who were those people that they laundered money through? Trump Baku, which never opened, and they didn't even have a drive that got to it. They just built this large clitoris of a building. You have to see it. I'm not lying. It was the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, right?
Yeah.
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 Those guys. The sanctioned people.
That article is worth going. I went and read it again not a couple weeks ago, and it's worth revisiting
Worth revisiting. And
because there's
everyone's
no
like,
reason why it's a microcosm of all of these deals. There's no reason why that building should have been built there.
no, but well,
He
there
went
was a
there.
reason.
Adam
It was
went
to
there.
launder money. Hey, look, there
Yeah.
was Batumi in Georgia right around the time that Russia was doing all their bullshit there, right? The
Mhm.
Kremlin was doing their bullshit there because he's always right there for the Kremlin, always first and foremost.
Yeah.
And that one just required. That was one of the more interesting ones to me because when I was looking at that, I'm like, okay, so all he needed for this to launder a bunch of money, which is again, it's all facts, it's all out there. You can read some of the writings that I did on it if you want. You can see it in reporting if you want. But Batumi he just showed up with a shovel and a thumbs up and some ribbon. And all you needed there were architectural plans. And that's when I started looking into the architect. He kept using the same architect. This guy disappeared, right? As soon as he became president, he disappeared. But it was, just have the plans and have the ground, have the sort of property that you're going to put it at, whatever deal you need for that. And boom, hundreds of millions of dollars could come through into the LLCs that the properties were set up around. And then poof, oh, we decided not to build. And where did that money go? Where did it come from? Where did it end up? These are the things that great reporting would have figured out. And we just didn't have a lot of people on there looking into that, and certainly not people with the resources. And who really could have figured it out was any prosecutor, any federal prosecutor looking at FARA violations or Foreign Corrupt Practices Act violations, or even some RICO shit. So we didn't get any of that with this guy. We just got, oh, he's a clown. Burp, burp.
We have to write lots of articles about the horse race and the poll numbers. And oh my God,
yeah,
can
the
you
poll
believe that?
numbers. Yeah, and emails.
Yeah, that too.
So he's, it's a crime family. They've always been criming. This is all they've ever done. All they run are scams. That's it. None of it's legitimate. Zero. I didn't even get into the golf courses. There's a great Scottish journalist that was able to dig into a lot around the golf courses, which was Eric Trump's big bailiwick. So perhaps once this fraud case passes through the eye of the needle and maybe there'll be some consequences from it, there'll be more that all of a sudden follow. I just don't know if we're going to run out, if we're up against statute of limitations on some of these things. I don't know.
We're running out of, there's not enough prosecutors in the country charging with all this shit. I mean, it's really ridiculous. It just is.
Well, it takes us into our next topic, which is...
Well, the next topic is blockchain gang. But
yeah, schemes and scams for pushing a bunch of money through,
Yeah. Can
maybe they do go down.
I have a little, it's not even a game. It's just a little something extra since we don't have a guest. Okay. This right here is a $2 bill.
Yes.
This is yours, LB. This will be yours.
Oh.
If you can tell me the name, what house, whether House or Senate, what chamber of Congress, and what state, I need all three, the person who Steve Schmidt is working for.
Oh, I have
running against Biden.
Wait, it's Pennsylvania, right? I'm right.
I don't fucking know.
It's Pennsylvania. I think all I can think of in my head is Doug. Could be Doug or David. I think there's a D. I think it's Pennsylvania. And it's the presidency. Isn't it
he's trying to primary?
Isn't it a challenger?
It's a challenger to Biden.
Biden. Yeah.
So he's a Democrat. That we know.
Primary. All right. Where is he from? What's his name? Where's he from?
Dean Phillips is his name.
Dean Phillips. That's it.
And there seems to be not a consensus on what state he's from. There's Minnesota. There's Michigan. I don't know. The point is,
I mean, again, somebody out of nowhere, like Mike Johnson, Christy Noem, these characters that just poof appear, and all of a sudden they've got these big jobs. And Eric Adams, right?
Yep. Keep foreshadowing there.
Yeah. So out of nowhere. So maybe there is a 3-step. Maybe it's like if you're a foreign power that wants to gather up all your money, find a political rainmaker that has not done nothing but fail, but is loquacious and lovely, right? And make sure he's picks out from obscurity one of your dudes and push money through there. Maybe that's what Dean Phillips is. I don't know.
Dean Phillips is independently wealthy. I think he's got his own money.
He is,
I
but
think
he
Schmidt
goes
is just
after that.
he's just rinsing this guy. I think
He
that's
goes
what it
after
is.
like Schwartz. Yeah, whatever that.
I think I don't think it's anything more than that. It was just a test because name recognition not so great. Not great.
So great. Yeah. Not a great campaign so far.
Yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that I think Biden's got this. I think he's got the nom. I think he's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was our fun game that I made up 2 minutes before we went on. Okay.
I love it.
Now, number 4. Blockchain gang. Yeah. Oh, wait, I'm trying to Do you hear the sound working on the chain gang? You know that song? Sam Cooke?
I do know that song.
Yeah.
I do. I'm old enough to know
That's
that
the
song.
sound of the men working on the chain
gang. Yeah. Does it come with 115 years in prison?
I don't know.
Is that what he's up against?
Yeah, we're talking about Sam Bankman-Fried, who was convicted
everybody.
very, very quickly by the jury. Like, it took them I think they didn't even sit down, and they were done.
No, it was like the quickest verdict. I sent you, like, someone did was like, oh my God, this is movie juror stuff. Like it was a very, very fast verdict, and they still made time before they told anybody to order pizza for themselves and all the journalists. They were like, let's all have pizza. Yeah. We're just gonna have pizza. You'll wait, eat your pizza, and then we'll tell you. It was such a glaring fraud.
Yeah.
The son of 2 Stanford law professors. Is it Stanford? That's
it's
right.
Stanford. Yeah. It is Stanford.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A large adult son.
And if he did a plea bargain, he would be probably serving a lot less jail time. But he had to have everyone see what a brilliant guy he was.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Such a brilliant guy. So
listen, I have a thing to say about this. I paused it because I started us too early. It's not a difficult formula to figure out who to avoid giving your VC money to, or going along with because they're telling you some story, right? I got this thing, come invest in this thing. So I've got this new rule, like, don't feed the goobers. These are antisocial personality disorder. You can see it coming a mile away. There's a particular type. Elizabeth Holmes was this type, right? Yeah. She was a goober with her weirdo boyfriend. It's a
fabulous.
They're fabulous. It's like this fever swept through Silicon Valley. And I think a lot of it was opportunistic of just really, truly. And you've got Elizabeth Warren calling this out now. Like, this was just money laundering. Like there are big bad criminals who needed this big vehicles through which to launder tremendous sums of money. And I've, again, written about that and talked about that for years now, of how it's not, the money that the illicit funds that are being made internationally. You had Alisher Usmanov, who, although he threatened to sue, he never did sue because he couldn't sue, right? This was a big Russian oligarch, a mob oligarch who was very deeply connected into the Kremlin. So also an intelligence officer for the Kremlin, who funneled hundreds of millions of dollars way back when, almost 20 years ago now, through Yuri Milner and in his partner in this, and into Silicon Valley to fund Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. So Alisher Usmanov, this mob oligarch, was probably the biggest heroin trafficker in the world, one of the biggest ones in the world, coming out of Afghanistan, coming out of all the heroin that was coming out of there. He threatened to sue. The Guardian wrote about this a lot. Luke
Harding.
Harding wrote about it a lot. He threatened to, and there's several of them like this, right? So he threatened to sue over all this, and he couldn't because he was doing it, right? So the money that flushed into Silicon Valley, and that wasn't all of it. It was coming from all over the world. There's a tremendous amount that came from Saudi Arabia. These are huge sums of money, and so they need vehicles that match the size of the money that they're trying to push through. And that's, I don't know. We'll find out maybe more about Sam Bankman-Fried, but certainly that's the type, right? Let me create this blockchain or whatever the fuck he was doing, this exchange for my crypto, my FTX, blah, 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 blah. It just was the need, the necessity, possibly in his case, but certainly in other cases, of having a vehicle that could take a huge amount of money and just flush it through. So VCs and everyday people looking for whatever you're going to invest in, right? Stay away from these goobers because they're just props. If you're giving somebody your money because they're so very odd and they have this strange thing and they can tell the story and they're really committed to their thing. It's like, my thing. I know how to do my thing and it's going to save the world. It's going to do this. That's what this Sam Bankman-Fried was like. He just could tell the story about his obsessive thing that he was creating, and it made sense to him. But if you put it to a test against any business method, it collapsed. Same for Elizabeth Holmes. She was just told a great story about the thing, and she was so committed to it that people believed in magic. They believed in magic because she was strange and odd, and she kept telling the story. It's like they're looking for these unicorns, and it doesn't exist. It's a mythical thing.
Yeah.
These are people. These are fabulous. They're fabulous. You don't throw hundreds of millions, if not billions of VC dollars at them. You don't make them FBI informants. You don't do all these things.
Yeah.
You don't do this with these people. These are the folks that normally would have been, the society would have been like, no, we're not, I'm sorry. You're not getting our money and you're not getting our attention and we're not believing your story because it's bullshit. And we're calling out the bullshit. And something swept over, and it's corruption, a lot of it. But I also think it's the journalists that just went all in on this guy, the people who went all in on him, like the next sort of literally turned him into the next Bernie Madoff, but he was to begin with. But that's this sort of like, oh, he's just a genius because his hair is weird and he wears weird clothes and he's sloppy, he doesn't care, and he's got his story and his thing. And so let's give him all the money because it's so weird that it's going to work out. This is not the way Revenge of the Nerds is supposed to go. This is just not. It's not okay. It's not okay to empower these, terribly disordered people. It's a fraud. He's a fraud. He's just a criminal. He just lied to get money and spent it on himself. That's it. He made up a story.
Wait, is that right? I was told that was how capitalism works. I'm sorry, I missed.
Oh,
that not okay. Yeah,
no, that's not it.
There's also the myth. I think one of the key elements here is the media creating the narrative. Media figures, especially in business journalism, would tend to be dry. There's these great narratives. There's these great stories. The sports reporters do. There's always these narratives about certain players.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Michael Lewis fell for this shit. Michael Lewis is not a nobody. He's a Mount Rushmore guy. So he's clearly, this Bankman-Fried clearly was able to pull the wool over some very, very important eyes, or eyes that should have been able to see through the goddamn wool.
Well, let me tell you something about that rarefied air, right? Mm-hmm. That culture. There's a real belief there that if you're in that sort of either celebrity or uber wealth or combination of the two space, right? That if people whisper to you, oh no, this is the one that has the magic. This is the one that has the magic. We're here in this magical place and we have a magical lives and everything's magical around us because there are these facilitators, whether it's a money manager or
Mhm.
an investment you got to get into. Elon Musk came right into this
Oh
kind of
my
rarefied
God.
air and he
He's
pimped
an
that out.
example, sure.
And so a lot of it is just the other people who are sort of the influencers in that space saying, oh, this is my guy. Oh, you got to meet. Oh, you got, and then they go in, and then in a case like Sam Bankman-Fried, you've got people in there who were duped.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to admit you were conned. And feels shameful, right?
Yeah.
And admit you were duped. And I think in that rarefied space of rarefied air, it's really hard there to come to terms with maybe your special poo-poo doo-doo goop oil isn't going to be the miracle cure for, aging. Maybe you're just going to fucking age like everybody else on the planet. So it's like that. It's like that, whether it's a little thing of this that you get, that's just, a product with a thing slapped on it and some, scent in it that you're paying $800 for, or when it's really worth about $3, or a guy with a crypto exchange, he's telling you this is the way the future is going to go, right? It's
Yeah.
the
Also,
easiest group. If you can get into that group, easiest con job in the world, because they believe they're breathing their own air, So if
they're
you're
high on their own supply.
them, then you're magical too.
High on their own supply.
High on their own supply.
By the way, Bernie Madoff just called from hell and said, "How dare you compare this schmuck to me?"
Sorry, Bernie.
Madoff ran that shit for 30 years. This guy didn't even last 3.
Yeah.
Schmo.
Because he's a goober.
Yeah. Bernie Madoff was many things, but he was not a goober.
He was not a goober.
Yeah,
he was
but he
just
did
a
everything that you
real
said.
criminal.
He was the rarefied
He was
air.
a
This
horrible
is the
criminal.
guy. This is the guy that I know. I'm going to call. That was what he did. No, horrible person. Just
horrible.
Awful.
Yeah,
Stunningly
they
bad.
do have a commonality of all being either sociopaths or psychopaths. They do all have that. Just you've got to, if you're just going to bankrupt, innocent people and run scams and spend it on yourself. There's something there's the antisocial part of that should not be left unsaid.
Yeah.
These are disordered people.
Okay. Announcements time.
Oh,
we have announcements. Yeah. The announcements are, first of all, I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank everybody for joining. We want to thank everybody. There's been people that are paying for subscriptions for other people, which is lovely.
Oh,
and it makes us smile.
So great, you guys.
We appreciate it. We appreciate you. We love the chat, and it it makes the show fun to do. It's weird to do this and not have a live audience, but the chat sort of is, and it's just a lot of fun for that. So thank you all. If you don't mind hitting the like button, I guess likes are important in this YouTube, algorithmic, whatever it is.
They are important. Just hit the like, everybody.
Yeah, just hit the like. We got 400 people right now watching this. If everybody hits the like, we get 400 likes.
Yay!
That's what we do. I'm not good at math, but that's 400. So yeah, that would be great. A note on our schedule next week. We already have our guest lined up. She'll be terrific. We will do an after hours next week. The 2 weeks after that, which are the Friday after Thanksgiving and the one before, which I think is the 17th, I want to say.
Yeah.
We will be off. So we're going to be off for 2 weeks, and then we'll be back in December, and that's what we're doing.
Unless we decide that then Friday night after Thanksgiving we're bored and we want to. But
we may that may be only an after hours.
That may be only an after hours. And for everybody that doesn't know, to get into our after hours when we have them, you need to join and be a member. So the joining and the membership is, we start at as low as we could at $1.99. And then there's other tiers in there. And all of that goes to just support this show so that we can put this show on for you every week. And because, and then there's a podcast, Mr. Olear. We're a little behind on getting the podcast out.
We are a little behind.
Turn this into a podcast. And so all of that takes money and resources, and we appreciate everybody's support. And we just love having members, and we like doing special things for you guys. So it's a lot of fun. So come join, be a member. We'd love to have you. All right. Are we ready for the last?
No, because I have
There's
one more
another
thing.
announcement?
Well, no, I mean, I want to tell you about my dream because I know you're going to log off right when it's over. I don't think I told you about my dream. This is 2 nights ago.
Okay.
I had a dream where, like in the X-Men movies, where there's what's the lady who can change shapeshift and change what's her name? Mystique.
Mystique.
Right? And there's the scene where in the first X-Men movie, comma, the greatest superhero movie ever made, period, comma, whatever. Mystique changes into Wolverine. So Wolverine is fighting Wolverine and you don't know who's who.
I don't remember that. I'll have to
Oh, it's great. And then the real Wolverine wins, and Cyclops is like, "How can I tell that you're the real guy?" And Wolverine just goes, "You're a dick." And he's like, "Oh, okay, let's go." It's great. It's such a great movie. Anyway, I had a dream where Joe Biden, our president, was being attacked by Joe Biden, but it was an evil Joe Biden. No, it was an evil Joe Biden.
You're dreaming about this?
I dreamed it. And I was watching it like from across the yard. So it wasn't even, I didn't even have a good view of this in my own dream. So the fake Biden, okay, was coming in and trying and hitting. And the real Biden just stuck out his left arm like this and absorbed the blows. And he just went, bam, and cold cocked the bad guy and just knocked him right the fuck out.
Oh my goodness.
That's it. I
can't
swear.
even decipher that dream.
And then I went back to dreaming about loading dishwashers and stuff like
yes, I knew you were dreaming about dishwashers.
Yeah.
I'm just please just punch that the real Biden, delivered a blow. Yeah. I'm pleased just punch about that. So
I don't know what it means though. Do you have any idea?
I don't know, but I'm gonna just hope that you yourself have magical powers, even though you're not asking me to give you $100 million for some kind of crypto exchange, but that you have some magical powers, and you're not a goober. You're my buddy, and you are seeing into the future, and it's gonna hopefully portend a victory in about a year, which would be amazing.
I think it will. Somebody. It's I don't know. Maybe we should ask Mike Johnson to interpret for us from his Bible study. Okay.
All right.
Number 5.
Weird
New York.
I mean,
set the timer.
I set it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know. Listen, there's always been something wrong with this guy, Eric Adams. And then we've got George Santos. And there's nothing right about him. Like it's not. I don't even know where to look with George Santos. I don't. What am I supposed to be looking at here? What am I paying attention to? There's 8,000 things going on at once with that guy. So yeah, New York is.
I don't know.
I'm not encouraged. I'm back to being a New Yorker. I come from New Yorkers. I'm now, firmly a New Yorker myself. It's not looking too good. It's not looking too good. So for those of you that don't know, Eric Adams, he was supposed to show up at something. What was the thing? Some summit or something he was supposed to attend. I think it was about the conflict. And I could be wrong. They'll tell us in the chat. And he bailed at the last minute, and the reporter's going, he just didn't show up. And where does he go? And then we find out literally a couple hours later that his number one campaign funder manager, Steve Schmidt, is an unregistered foreign agent for Turkey.
Busted by the FBI.
Got raided by the FBI for being such. You can't, unless you're Tom Barrack, I don't know that you can get away with this shit. So let's hope not. Yeah. So I don't know her name. It's a woman, right? It's a woman.
Yeah. Turkey. That's my other question. Turkey? Like, is it when I think New York City and people from other countries who come to New York City to live, I make a long list before I get to Turkey.
What was Menendez? Who is he taking money for?
Egypt.
That's right.
Yeah. There's lots of different districts. I'm sure there is. I just am saying it's not the first 25 that I would.
We got a problem in the tri-state area. We got some problems going on here.
Well, what happened with Santos is that they moved to expel him, and he did not get expelled because some of the Democrats voted to keep him,
Yeah.
such as Raskin, who said,
Yeah.
this is a bad precedent. Obviously, this guy's a clown, but he hasn't been convicted. He hasn't done it. We can't, it's not actionable yet. And
Except I heard Dan Goldman's argument, and I actually agree with Dan Goldman. It's like, what is different? So it's not just, he's not saying I didn't do any of these things.
yeah,
He's not so that we should wait for due process because we don't want to, convict or eject an innocent person. He's saying, yeah, I did all this. Yeah. Come and get me. So he's admitted it. He's admitted to the stuff that would get him expelled. I don't know. I always think that Dems like, oh, precedent. Well, if we do it, then they'll do it to us. It's like, they're going to do it to you. What are you talking about? They're going to do every bad thing you can even imagine. That's
correct.
what they are.
Yeah.
It's a domestic terror party, period, full stop. That's it.
Look, the guy's awful, and he's a liar, and he has no business being in Congress, but like from a sheer comedy standpoint,
Yes.
I don't think is it really that bad? I mean, I feel like we needed a new character to come and join the surreal life season 25 that is this MAGA Congress place. You got Boebert with the Beetlejuice, and she's fighting now with the spork toe, and then George Santos is there with the baby, and he's at the bank, and what is he doing? And there's the twin sister grifter. I don't know. Maybe George.
Real? I don't know.
George and Sam Bankman-Fried could trade places. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know that we would know the difference. I got to be honest. You could swap those two out and it would it's all one craziness. I once proposed that for Donald Trump's library, what he should have is a circus that's also like a traveling porn show circus, adults only, very adult. And all of these characters, and then I think that was like, okay, let's just have them on the pool table. But we need George Santos back on the pool table for sure.
I guess he's going to be here for at least another year.
I think so, and I think we're going to have to add Eric Adams. I just think we're going to have to add him. He's running behind all the pool balls and hiding, hoping nobody sees him with like a letter jacket, wearing a letter jacket with turkey on the back. I don't know. But it's this circus that has become so dangerous. I do think it's dangerous. Yes, comedy, from the comedy perspective for Santos, he delivers. Boy, does he delivers.
And by the way,
delivers. But it's
the people
also
in that
really
district
dangerous.
voted for this idiot. That district, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah.
You voted for this guy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
What we forgot to talk about?
What?
Mike Pence shut down the campaign. Shut down his campaign.
Yeah. Well,
he shut down. I can't believe it.
I
really thought, I thought he would have at least double digits, not in the polls, just 10 people showing up to hear him talk. I think maybe, I don't know. Just wasn't working out.
No.
So he's out.
I wonder does a guy like that have regrets? So interesting. When they're shameless, if you're shameless, do you have regrets? I don't think so.
Being I don't know, it's just so foreign to me, the way that you have to be to get the shit done that you want to get done. It's just, my brain doesn't operate that way. So I'm not the right person to ask,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what's he going to do now? Is he going to go back to like radio and just have a radio show?
Probably. I could see him doing something.
Even though Donald Trump,
he's so boring. I mean, the problem with Mike Pence is, again, he doesn't have a constituency. He could have had one, but he didn't go all in like Mike Johnson, right? He could have he played it like he was going to do that, but then tried to still sound like, a neocon, whereas Johnson's just like, wee, yeah, I'm going to be jazz handy through this whole thing. And he didn't go the way of like Chris Christie or anything like that, where it was, even though Chris Christie's like what, and barely, he should probably suspend his campaign as well. But even Ron DeSantis is coming out and throwing punches at Trump now. So he didn't do that, and he could have, he had every right to, right? He had every position. It actually would have been way stronger for him. So it makes one wonder, like, why did he make the choices he made? What's going on with that guy? Something
I wrote a
very
long
strange.
time ago. He's owned. I mean, he's everything that the only time he stood up to Trump is when there were people there that were trying to kill him, his
Right.
wife, and his family. And then for like 24 hours, he was okay. Like that's a really, I mean, come on.
Well, at least he hit the wall. I mean, at least there was a line.
There was a line.
It's called death.
Of not even of him, of the family, of mother. I mean, that's the difference between him and Kaiser Sose. Kaiser Sose was like, fine, be that way, and I'm going to take you out now, but not Mike Pence. Nope.
Not Mike Pence.
Not Mike Pence. Yeah.
He ain't no Kaiser Sose.
Trump is going to be the nominee. It's just it.
Yes,
there's
he
so
is.
much crazy shit. Go. Okay, just I know you got to go. But when the fly landed on his head, that's it. I mean, that actually happened in a thing.
I know.
There's been so much crazy shit. I think I just thought about it. I'm like, that's nuts that happened.
I know.
If you're somebody that believes in signs from the Almighty, fly landing on vice president's white hair during debate is a big sign. Big sign.
Let me tell you something. All of it, none of it seems real. There is a part of me that feels like in like maybe 10 years time, 15 years time, I thought it would come a lot quicker, but I think it's going to take some time. Most people are going to wake up going, holy shit, what was that? Yeah. That's if we're going to be okay and get through this. I don't know. I had a week where I'm not so sure about that. So maybe you've got some words of wisdom to send us out on tonight. I don't know. What do you think, Greg? What do you think?
I'm going to answer your question. I know.
What can guide us?
I mean, I had Jason Pack on my podcast this week, and I encourage everybody to listen to. He was a brilliant guy. We'll have him on this show too at some point. And the idea of looking at these people as disorderers, and this being a new period of history that doesn't have a historical precedent, where there's just people that just want to blow shit up for no reason. As he said, the Soviet Union had, an ideology. They had there were texts, there were ways of doing things. There was an economic system. Putin doesn't have any of that shit. This is what Jason was saying. There's nothing. It's just stupid. It's like, break the fucking glass, steal the jewels, and get out of there.
Here's where that's incomplete. That's incomplete is there is an order to criminality. There's an objective and a design to it. It's just not in the world where he's looking at things and measuring things, right? So there is a purpose to the chaos, and that is to tear down anything that would get in the way of the criminality.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But because
that's running apparently real fucking smoothly, except for the sanctions. But I don't think Putin's wealth is in jeopardy.
No,
I think there's plenty of from all of this chaos comes tremendous wealth for the Vladimir Putin and Peter Thiels of the world from that spectrum.
And all of those motherfuckers need a functional, stable West to park their wealth. So there's your happy note for today. All of this bad criminal money has to come here so it can finance, I don't know, whatever Tommy Tuberville's up to and Mike Johnson and whoever else. That's
sports teams. Yeah.
Sure, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the answer. And I don't know. You don't seem convinced. You don't seem
No.
convinced.
No, so I'll pose the exit to you again,
Okay. I know. I talk.
lobbing this to you, or I'll take it myself. So, what kind of words of wisdom can you give us, or what something to hang on to that gets us to another day?
We're going to get through this.